Well, hello everyone, welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. I'm really excited for this episode because I'm going to be showing you a different method that we've used in the past with a lot of success, and one that I think is really going to change the way a lot of you grow onions. So traditionally, we've always used the 288 cell trays here. The 288 cell trays work great for us because we have the space and we have the trays, and that's just what we've used in the past. But like I said, in the past I used to work at a commercial greenhouse, and one way that we densely planted onions for our customers was through using the high density planting method. Now, the high density planting method we've also used with a lot of success early on when we did not have the high, the high output setups and all the space and things like that, because they really do conserve on space and they really do give you amazing results just without using up that much space. You can grow hundreds and thousands of onions in the same space. You can grow probably 288 onions. So again, here's our 288 cell tray here. And you can grow hundreds and thousands of onions in the same amount of space by using the high density method. The only thing that you have to worry about is the size of the seedlings that go into the ground. The reason why we use the 288 cell method is because of the fact that when you have a single seed growing in a single cell, you don't have competition for soil, and it can grow up to be a bit larger. So that when you move it into the soil, it's going to be a little bit larger, it's going to grow a little bit faster, and it can compete against some of those weeds that might be there. So you're going to have a much healthier plant initially. In the long run though, the silver lining is that in the long run, using the high density planting method, you're going to end up with the exact same size onion. And that's really nice, because as long as you don't mind the seedling when it goes into the ground, as long as you don't mind sacrificing a little bit of size, you're going to end up with the same size in the end. And that is what is so cool. So the high density planting method for onions also applies to all alliums. You cannot do this method with anything else, and that's what I love about it. Because what you're going to do is you're going to pretty much take spacing and you're going to chuck it out the window. The spacing does not matter with the high density planting method, because when you grow something like an onion, you're going to grow it in a container like this, a 3-inch pot, a 4-inch pot, doesn't quite matter. You're going to spread the seeds very densely. As the seedlings grow up, they're going to grow just like normal. When it comes time to planting in the ground, you're simply going to take the huge plug of plants, you're going to pop it out, and you're going to simply pull the plants out of the soil. You're going to expose all the roots. It's going to seem very counterintuitive, because we always say, don't damage the roots, don't damage the roots, don't spread them, don't rip them. It is totally fine to do with onions, because there is two things that make onions incredible. One is that they do not have leaves like we think of normal leaves. You see a leaf on like a tree or a tomato leaf. These are large leaves that mask out so much sun when they get large that you couldn't grow a lot of plants in a close area, because they would shade each other out. They would compete for sunlight. The miracle behind onions and other alliums like shallots and leeks and onions and chives is that alliums don't produce leaves like we see normal leaves. Their leaves are very long and very spindly, so they don't compete for a whole lot of sun, because they kind of just grow up like grass in between each other, and they don't really overlap. They just kind of intertwine and grow up like a thick mat of grass would. And that is what's so nice, is because you don't have the competition for sunlight. Now, the next thing is the roots. So as we said, you can't grow you can't do this method with any other plant, and that's also because, not only because of the leaves, but because of the roots. Onions do not produce fibrous roots. They're very, very thick and very wiry. If you look at something like lettuce, or look at something like a tomato, their roots spread out in a tiny little web, and those webs spread out in tinier little webs, and it becomes this mass, this root mass. Whereas with onions, they're very thick and very wiry, and you can just pull them apart without any damage to the root system whatsoever. And that makes it very nice, because that gives you the capability to grow 100 plants in the same space. You might be able to grow 2 or 3 onion plants, and you have the same exact results at the end of the day, because you're going to split them apart, and you're going to put them in the soil. And we'll keep you all updated as we go with this method, but I wanted to show you the method up close as it pertains to putting the seeds in into the seed starting mix here and into the trays, Because once that you do that, and once you get your mind around the fact that spacing doesn't matter, because as soon as you pull them apart and put them in the ground, you're at the exact same point that you would be had you started them individually. And it's a great method because not everyone does have that space, and not everyone can sacrifice a whole tray to just onions. You might only have a few grow lights, or you might only have one grow light. And I can tell you that you can grow as many onions as your family needs in a small little 4-inch pot, as I do in a 288 cell tray. So the only thing we're going to do is when we have our tray here full of soil, we're simply going to press down each cell to get really good contact with the seeds. You're going to press down the entire cell here. And I'm going to do, these are 6 cell packs. So I'm going to do 12 cells of each variety here. I have the ruby red long day, the white sweet Spanish, and the yellow Spanish, the yellow Utah onion. And so these 3 onions here are kind of our go-to onions. And what we're going to do is we're simply going to take the packet of seeds. And as you can see, we probably have, there's 250 seeds in a pack here. And so we're simply going to take these seeds and we're just going to put, who knows, I don't even know. divide up 250 by 12. And that's about, on average, how many seeds are going to be in a cell. And you can see here, it's mind-blowing, right? It is mind-blowing how many seeds we're going to have sprouting up. But you'll find that when these grow up, they just grow up like a thick mat. And then you're going to take each plug out individually. You're going to pull out the seedlings once they become mature enough, because you don't want them to be too spindly that you break them when you separate them. But you also don't want them to be too stressed either. So there's that fine line that we'll bring you all along for. As you can see here, same thing. Take your seeds and just sprinkle them in there. Take spacing and throw it right out the window because, like I said, with alliums, they're a special crop. They're something unique. I absolutely love growing them because you could just get so many in such a small space. And there is the Utah yellow. Just gonna take them and spread them down. And there you go. And we're just going to take some soil, put it over the top, and water it in, and we are good to go. So there you go. There is over 750 onion seeds started in this 8-inch by 16-inch flat here. I can't tell you how much I love this method because, like I said, you do sacrifice size a little bit, but I mean, come on, you're sacrificing a tiny bit of size for like 4 or 5 times the production. So I absolutely love this. If you are someone who has a need for a lot of onions, you can grow a ton of onions in just a tiny little space there. So I do hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you learned something new, and I really do hope that you share with your friends this method because it's something that I have not seen a lot of people using, and I see so many people, you know, they'll take like a 4 or 6 cell plug. They might plant 1 seed in each one of these cells here. And I'm thinking, holy smokes, you know, you're gonna get 72 plants, 72 onions in this when you could get 10 times that. 10 times what some people are getting. And I mean, not everyone has a need for 750 onions. I get that. But the fact of the matter is if you don't have a need for 750 onions, grow 72 onions in just this. So that's really going to help a lot of people out. It's going to save you a lot of space, and it will make your life a whole lot easier. So as I said before, once we get the onions growing up in a thick mat, all we're going to do is we're going to pop that plug out, and then we're going to tickle the soil ball. We're going to work those roots loose, and then we're simply going to separate out the plants. Then you can pick the largest plants, the healthiest plants, or you can plant them all. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. But we'll bring you all along for that next stage, and I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. And we'll see you all tomorrow because we're going daily, and I'll catch you all later. See ya. Bye.